Welcome to the Keenan Lake Show on SIBN Radio. Keenan Lake is the author of the book My Daddy Taught Me That, published by Welcome, a social worker and activist. You can like this show's fan page at www.facebook.com/The Keenan Lake Show on SIBN Radio. Feel free to post any comments, questions, or requests for his book on the fan page. Now let's go into the studio with your host, Mr. Keenan Lake, and co-host, Marcus Select.
What's going on, everybody? Thank you so much for joining us for the Keenan Lake Show right here on SIBN Radio. And we have the host of the show, the honorable, the incredible Mr. Keenan Lake. What's going on, Keenan? Keenan, are you there? Are you there, Keenan?
Yeah, can you hear me, Coach?
Yeah, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. How you feel today?
Coach, I feel great. It's a beautiful day today. The sun is shining where I'm at, and, you know, all is well. My Carolina Panthers finally got a victory today, so I'm doing pretty good, Coach. Wow,
we also have in the studio a young intern. I want to introduce her and give her a chance to give her name. Let me make sure her mic is queued up. Are you there?
Yes, my name is Ashanti Green.
All right, and we'll tell them what school you go to.
I go to Shiloh High School.
All right, she's joining us today on the Keenan Lake Show and be helping us to go to commercials. And we also thank Keenan Lake for allowing us to do this because we know he's all about young people graduating into constructive activities for the time that they have before they go off to college.
Exactly. I am so elated to have Miss Green on the show. Thank you for being on.
Yes, yes. All right. All right, then, Keenan, what we going to talk about today?
Well, Coach, you know, we're always talking about ways to help families. We're always talking about some of the things that are kind of discouraging to folks, even though they're a reality and this is what's really happening and what's going on. But today, Coach, I wanted to talk about some things and be a little bit more positive. And what I mean by being positive is being motivational more so, I should say, and being uplifting today, even though I think that I do that normally. You know, once again, when you talk about the problems, the situations that we find ourselves in, a lot of times, you know, that could be looked at as being negative or, you know, he's always talking about things that keep us down, you know, and that's not what my intent is. You know, again, I always want to talk about ways to try to uplift and help, but today I wanted to be a little bit more motivative and talk about some things so people won't be discouraged, Coach. So with that being said, let's jump right in, Coach. So once again, Coach, we find ourselves, you know, dealing with situations like, for example, this past week, you know, I was doing my public speaking thing, and I was at a high school, and, you know, I just saw some of the kids who were acting inappropriately and who were doing some things, and it actually got me real discouraged as far as the work that I do. But, you know, the main thing that I want to put out there is this. Whatever you're doing, if it's positive, if you're trying to help people, you're trying to, you know, work a job, or you're just trying to be the best citizen, the best person that you can, you should not be discouraged in the things that are happening, because we know that we're not in control of what's going on, okay? Now, we are in control of our actions. We're in control of, you know, how we conduct ourselves. But there is a higher power that has, I have an echo, Coach, but I don't know if you can hear it on here.
Yeah, I hear some interference there.
There's a higher power who has everything under control. Mm-hmm. Coach, you want to weigh in a little bit on that?
Well, that's true, Keenan. I mean, first of all, let me just commend you and our listeners for tuning in. I see the numbers every week, and people are tuning in because they want their lives to be repaired. Everybody doesn't want to live in some of these ills and situations that we talk about. But second, I want to second your motion for motivational and inspirational words to those who are out there who are grinding it, you know, 9 to 5, 9 to 9, 9 to 12, whatever the hours may be, not only at work but also at home. And we want to just say congratulations to those of you that are out there that are really, really putting your foot to the metal, so to speak, the rubber to the road, to make sure that your kids are well fed and your kids are up to going off to school on time. That plays a big part in it. To try to discipline your children to the best of your ability. And that's what this show is about today, just trying to encourage those listeners who have been tuning in, but perhaps just a bit way to the left, you know, considering all the ills that we have to deal with, Keenan.
Right, Coach. And let me say this. I got, over the last several weeks now, I've been getting messages on Facebook. Actually a couple of messages via text about the shows that are being conducted that we're doing, Coach. And more so than not, they're all thanking us for what we're doing, for what we're putting out. But what I would like to tell folks is this. Like Coach just mentioned before, I've gotten, in the last, I think, 2 weeks, I've probably gotten 10 messages via text or Facebook about, and these are all from single moms, about what's happening. So to all my single mothers out there, continue to do your thing. Continue to be that light, that beacon, because once, like I say in every show, it's because of you, it's because of what you're doing and how you're teaching and raising our kids that we don't find ourselves, in situations where these kids are even further held back because of the lack of male role models. So to all my single mothers, please take a hat, because we are so proud of you and we thank you for what you're doing.
That's true. That's true. And not only do we
also,
thank you,
but the fathers out there, to the men out there who are being, men who are taking care of that responsibility as well, who are, holding down their families. Again, we want to thank you as well and uplift you at this time, because we, again, know that this is something that is not, not the norm. But let me just read this fact real quick, Coach. Yesterday I was doing some research on the internet and stuff like that, and I came across something that was actually, it's an updated version of something that I put in my book a couple of years ago. So it says, Quick Facts on Fatherhood. This is according to the 2011 U.S. Census Bureau data, over 24 million children live apart from their biological fathers. That is 1 out of every 3, which is 33% in America. Nearly 2 in 3, 64% African American children live in fatherless or absent father homes. 1 in 3, 34% Hispanic children. 1 in 4, 25% white children. And these are all kids who live in absent parent homes. Okay, in 1960, only 11% of children in the United States lived in absent parent homes. So we see how this is just continuing to get worse and worse. And it's actually, again, always disproportionate, and it's most seen in the African American community. Finally, the report states, and the little article states, that children who live in absent father biological homes are on average, at least 2 to 3 times or more likely to be poor, to use drugs, to experience educational and mental health issues, behavioral problems, to be victims of child abuse, and to engage in criminal behavior, likely or compared to their peers who are in married homes or homes who have fathers. So to all of my fathers, my mothers, my parents, my care providers out there who are doing their responsibility, doing their jobs, we thank you so much, because you are helping change these statistics and change these stats to the better of what we're trying to do and what needs to be done. Because like I always say in every show, what I feel is one of the biggest problems in this country is the foundation of the home being broken. And when we don't have that foundation to stand on and we have broken homes, it really causes problems. Coach.
And Keenan, I have a little surprise for you. Ashante, I'm going to bring your mic back up because I want her to give her father a shout out. Now, Ashante is raised by a single father, Keenan. I think that's very unique. And it goes to your point that we can't always lean to a particular stat because there are all kinds of situations out here. Ashante, why don't you go ahead and give your father a shout out, because Keenan is always talking about those who don't have fathers, but we sometimes forget to shout out to fathers who are raising children with not a mother around. So go ahead and give your dad a shout out.
Yeah, hey Dad, it's Ashanti, just letting you know I love you, and you raised me right, and just wanted to let you know I understand where you're coming from when you tell me I can't do certain things. It's just like you say, you can't burn your bridges. You can't take away your backup. If you tell everybody that's nice to you that you can't do certain things and you make them mad, and that's burning all your bridges. You can't do that. Some stuff you can't. Some things when you tell people, if, for example, I'm with you in the studio here today,
Mm-hmm.
if I burnt my bridge with you, I can't ever come back.
Right.
And that's what my dad's trying to teach me right now. You can't burn all your bridges. If you take away all that you have, you won't have anything left to give.
That's very good. Keenan, what you think about that young lady right there?
That's amazing, Coach. And I'm so glad she's on the show, because this is exactly what we're trying to do, man. And I want to give her father a shout out too for instilling in her those values, because she's absolutely right. I mean, if you burn your bridges in a lot of situations, you might not get a second chance. So that's right. Just wonderful, man. And that is exactly what I would love to see more of. Young kids and young women and young males being able to be uplifted and being inspired. That's great.
We're getting ready to go to commercial. We'll be right back.
All right, Keenan, stand by.
Responsible, accountable. Who taught you that? My daddy taught me that. That's right, the new book, all the way from Asheville, North Carolina, representing the legacy of Benny Lake, is Keenan Lake, the author of My Daddy Taught Me That, the book and the program for young men in Asheville, North Carolina, and throughout the region. Tune in to the program, the project, and the book at mydaddytaughtmethat.com. For more information, email lake@mydaddytaughtmethat.com or call 828-582-2261. That's 828-582-2261. mydaddytaughtmethat.com.
This is IBN Radio. And you have just tuned in to the Keenan Lake Show. I'm your host, Keenan Lake. I am a published author, book My Daddy Taught Me That, a public speaker, and the president of a men's development youth program. The purpose of this show is to create awareness on topics that are dear to my heart, primarily absent fathers, male role models in the home, youth and young adults and children, families, and neglect and abuse. I not only want to shine a light on these topics and create awareness on these topics, I want to educate, inform, encourage, and motivate. So please join us on the Keenan Lake Show. For more information about the Keenan Lake Show, give us a call at 415-967-2346. And we thank you for listening to SIBN Radio.
We're right here with the Keenan Lake Show, man, and we're back, keeping it hot, keeping it live, keeping it rocking right here with the Keenan Lake Show, baby. And we got Ashante in the studio. Keenan, man, we talking about positive motivation, man, and inspiration to get the parents going, right?
You're actually right, Coach. And to continue this topic and this conversation, Coach, a lot of times parents in general, we're faced with so many problems, we're faced with so many issues, be it personal, be it, your job, be it, just your family structure, whatever is going on. And a lot of times it's very, very easy to get discouraged, to get unmotivated, and just to feel down and maybe even depressed. What I talked about earlier, Coach, was this, what I was trying to talk about earlier was this, that, when I was saying that we're not in control, what I meant by that is this. A lot of people would like to think, primarily if you're a Christian, you like to think that we're living in a fallen world. And, this is, a lot of people even say these are the end days. Well, whether or not Christ is coming back, only he knows. But what I will say is this. If you're doing positive things in your life, okay, and and at least, and this is what I tell all my young people out there, at least try. Don't, if you have a dream or you have a goal, at least try. Don't give up before you even start it. Don't give up too fast. At least put that effort in and try, because you'll be surprised what you can accomplish. But if you're doing positive things and you're trying to be that father or that mother or that school teacher or that person who's doing all these positive things and you're just putting forth effort, but barriers are in your way or the door may be closed in your face or something may happen, don't give up. continue to pursue, continue to put forth even more effort, because what I mean by we're not in control is this. Christ has a plan for each and every one of us. And if we hold true and have faith and believe, then, all the discouragement, all of that unmotivated issues that may be in our lives can change, and we'll be motivated from the things that he opens up. We have to be patient, we have to have faith, but once again, we'll give up too early. Coach, you want to weigh in on any of that?
I mean, that's it's very well plain and said. I mean, we have a lot of goals in life, financial, educational, parental, but we forget that we have to have spiritual goals. I recently, myself, even though we have a ministry, recommitted myself to a local church here in the area, because we all need that fellowship. We all get weak, and we have to be around other people that strengthens us. And so, for some reason or another, when you don't include spiritual goals and, of course, Christ and God in your planning, it just seems like it's always chaos and, pandemonium and, patterns that just seem to repeat themselves. So we want to be in that place where we have a balance. And a lot of times, to solve a problem, you have to balance it first. And once you balance it, then you're starting to see results. It's like Keenan, I'll tell you a little story. I had planted this tomato plant because I'm called myself trying to cut down on the grocery bill, right?
Okay.
So I planted this tomato plant. It was healthy when it started, and I planted it well because it grew very tall, put the little rim thing around it for the vines to be able to, catch and hang. But I forgot to treat it. And so I looked on there and had tomatoes on there, but I looked and the tomatoes were half eaten. And I was like, wow. Well, what's eating the tomato? And I saw a big, fat, juicy caterpillar just having a meal, just enjoying. I should have known a couple of weeks ago when I saw that big butterfly that almost landed on my shoulder. He's probably trying to tell me thank you. But just planting the plant is not enough. I should have treated the soil and expected some opposition called insects that wanted to eat that plant so that I couldn't enjoy it. So just that little example is how we have to have also spiritual maturity, spiritual authority, these things in our lives through the power of Christ and through the power of God's word, man. That's what's up.
Exactly. Now, Coach, a lot of times, and I'm going to actually give the audience an example of things that I do, and these are things that are just life tips. I tell my young men this all the time, but these are some life tips and some ways to continue to be motivated and to be encouraged along your journey. First and foremost, what I tell all my young folks is this: when you're doing things in this world, pair yourself with people who are doing uplifting and positive things. So whatever your situation is out there, whatever you're doing that, in your life, make sure you're around positive, influential people. There's an old saying, my mom used to say this all the time: if you lay in dirt, you're going to get dirty. So, and I always say this to all my young men as well. I always use this analogy with Puff Daddy, or P. Diddy, or whatever you want to call. When he was in college, I think it was Howard, University, he was there. And he left early because, he saw a couple of his friends who were millionaires, and he wanted to be a millionaire. So what he did was he hung out with all these millionaire friends of his and all these friends who were doing all these big power move, business moves. Mm-hmm. And now you look at him today, and he's almost a billionaire, $500 million in the game. So mm-hmm. If you pair yourself with people who are doing positive things, then, the result is you, in turn, will start doing positive things if you're not already. The company you keep or who you, is what you will and who you ultimately become.
That's right.
That's one thing. The other thing is this. This is what I like to do in my own life, Coach, because we all have ups and downs. We all have that moment in the valley where times are low and, it feels like it's the end of the world. But I always look at the blessings that Christ has given me in my life. Mm-hmm. And I look at how grateful he has been to me and blessed me, because it's like I always know that things could be worse. No matter how bad it is, Coach, no matter what's going on in my life, things can always be worse. So I'm thankful for that, and I look at it like, okay, you know what? Nah, things are bad right now. Things are not good. Things are not where I want them to be, but I always know that things can always get worse. And last, you got to look at it like this. We as human beings, if you take a look back at things, there's a saying in the Bible that we're always chasing our tails. And if you look at the grand scheme of things, things are not as serious or as bad as we might make them out to be. It's like, if you look at it, Coach, we might be running late for work because somebody in traffic got in front of us and stopped us from getting where we needed to be in time. So a situation like that will ruin our whole day. We're pissed off the entire morning, and, that negative energy will cause other things to happen in your life. So, Coach, you can jump in there and weigh in on that.
No, but you're absolutely right. I think what you're saying is when the rubber meets the road, we have to focus on what we have to deal with. The ills that we talk about on this show, the ills that you talk about in the book, My Daddy Taught Me That, and so forth and so on, are always seemingly going on in some household somewhere. But I think what I hear you saying is that at the end of the day, you got to focus on what you can do. And you know what, Keenan, one thing about parenting, it's one moment, one day at a time. Some days you just have a bad day. And there are days when you have great days. And then there are days when there are mediocre days. But what you try to do is forget the past and press toward the mark of the prize, of the high calling of a parent. Because you love that child, and also because of your community. Those of you that are listening to our show that don't have any kids, but you've adopted kids in the neighborhood, or kids on your job, or cousins and nephews and nieces and so forth and so on. But at the end of the day, you can't keep hanging on to your past mistakes and even past achievements. Every day is a new day. I want to ask Ashante, before we go to commercial break, Ken, I wanted to ask her, how does she think a world would be without her dad in her life? Ashante, what you think about that question?
Yeah, I don't think I'd be as better off as I am now. Like, I wouldn't have all the technology and stuff that I do now. I probably wouldn't have realized all of my talents because I have quite a bit of them. And I probably wouldn't have the same personality as I do today because anywhere else I would have grown up, I would have had a completely different attitude about the way I look at things, and my calmness about some situations. At school, sometimes students want to instigate and start things with me, or they want to just argue for no reason. Sometimes I have some control over that, and I just walk away. If my dad wasn't there, and if he hadn't taught me that, I'd probably be getting in fights, being suspended from school, and I wouldn't be a good person at all. I probably wouldn't have been going to church at all, ever.
And
wow.
and Keenan, those people out there that don't have a father, but they have a great mother, could say the same, wouldn't you say?
Exactly. I would say 110%, Coach. You're absolutely right. And first of all, I'm just elated and blown away by this young lady, man. That's one thing that I can tell that your father taught you and instilled in you, and that's confidence. And as a young woman, that is amazing. That is great. But you're absolutely right, Coach. Be a dad or a mom, being able to have that strong parent or parents, being able to teach these kids and young folks the right way. You can just see from the young lady on the other end and on the in the studio. She's the example of exactly what good parenting can produce.
Right, and when we come back from the break, Kenny, I want to talk about how we can involve our kids in activities beyond school after the homework. Just a little bit of encouragement to talk to the parents that may be listening about how to, and that's a positive, motivational, inspirational vitamin, if you will, involving your kids in activities that confirm the values you hold dear after the break. Keenan, is that cool?
That is cool.
All right, we'll be right back, you guys, in just a few minutes. You're listening to SIBN, Keenan Lake Show on SIBN Radio.
You keep it popping like a firecracker. Used to be a thug, but you changed your stature. Just think you shrimp from cheese and crackers. Life changed every time I read a chapter. Yeah. You got me on lockdown and I don't wanna pay the bill. Make me feel so good inside, make me wanna yell. private by mine, and you got me wanna tell. Put my trust in you, cause I know you will never fail. Yeah. Soon as I get my money, I give you money first, to show how much I love you, how much you really worth. You are the living water, make me obey my love.
We interrupt this program to simply say thank you for your listenership here on SIBN Radio. We do not take what you're giving to us for granted. By all means, we invite you to be a part of our family in a deeper way. You can visit our websites, www.sibntelevision.com. You'll see a community page at the top there, and you can join free of charge with your email and share your thoughts, pictures, and so much more right there on the site. And for those of you that would like to listen more regularly to our block programming, you can visit www.sibnradio-by-selectusatv.com. We're now looking for interns for the SIBN networks, and there is no shortage of work that needs to be done. Simply email us your bio or resume to globalcoverage@selectusatv.info. New programming is always a consideration here at the networks, and we invite you to share your ideas, concepts, or vision. As we move forward with a global multimedia platform, we expect great things. We now want to return you to your regularly scheduled program. And again, from our hearts to yours, thank you.
Radio at www.415-96radio.com. If you would like to know more about the SIBN television and radio network, complete a contact form at the website www.415-96radio.com. Salet USA TV, reaching the world.
Now is the time. Now is the time. Have your radio show on SIBN Radio. You're ready to share your message with the world. Then call 404-910-5019. That's right, call 404-910-5019. Producing your radio show on SIBN Radio. For more information, dial 404-910-5019. That's right. 404-910-5019. Now is the time.
Now let's go back to the Keenan Lake Show.
All right, Keenan, man, we're back here live in the studio with the Keenan Lake Show. Keenan, motivational, inspirational words for today.
Coach, well, I know before we took a break and we're about to wrap up and everything, you wanted to find out some motivational, inspirational things for youth and kids to do. Places for them to go primarily after school. And Coach, I would encourage all parents to look into after-school programs, be it, sporting events, extracurricular activities, any type of educational. You have to research these things out, though, and make sure that they're not only good for your child, but it's a good fit. Anything that's an after-school program that can benefit, a young person, I would definitely encourage. Even that could actually even be something where it's the family comes up with something on their own where, because what we see a lot of this too, Coach, is that the youth and the children are gone all day, and then when they get home, there's still not a lot of interacting with the parents and the children. So, you have to have that component in there as well. So maybe even adapting a time where there's some kind of family hour where, you and the child are interacting and doing something together, which can also encourage times where the child can talk to you and let you know what's going on in their lives as well. So with that, Coach, I would encourage all those that after-school programs, be it educational, sports is always good. You find that builds character in children. And then also I would I would also implement that family time with that child as well.
And you know what? I think you said it best about the parents being active. Children want activity and involvement from their parents. And even though you may be tired, you might be a little grumpy, maybe a little fussy, still they welcome some participation into their lives. I know that we always want them to apply themselves to the guidelines and the rules or whatever the case may be, but children welcome leisure as well as formal or informal participation to things that they like to do and the things that they want to do. So that's a wrap for us. But Keenan, go ahead on and give them the Twitter, the Facebook, and tell them they can still order the book. And are they able to order the new T-shirts and all that yet?
They are, Coach. Actually, if you go to www.mydaddytaughtmethat.com, I encourage all listeners to please check out the website. There is a shop page where I have my new logo up and the T-shirts and actually bracelet and a couple things that you can order. All proceeds go to the My Daddy Taught Me That Men's Development Program. Mm-hmm. So that's another way to try to generate revenue to help support that program. So please check that out. My Facebook is Keenan Lake. That's Facebook, and also I have a My Daddy Taught Me That Facebook, and finally I have a Keenan Lake SIBN Radio Facebook. Twitter is the KL Show. Please go to both the Facebook and the Twitter to send comments. If you want to have any type of response and stuff like that, please go to the website also to listen to the SIBN Radio Keenan Lake Show.
That's right. That's right. And then don't forget to weigh in. Keenan, give them the number if they want to text their response to the show. Give them that number one more time.
That is 828-582-2261. And also go on the website, leave the website, Facebook, and Twitter. You can leave comments on that as well.
All right. Ashante's going to close us out. Ashante?
Thank you very much, everybody. Thanks for listening to the Keenan Lake Show.
All right, Keenan, stand by.
Thank you for joining us today for the Keenan Lake Show. We know you will be empowered as you consider the content shared by Mr. Keenan Lake, co-host Marcus Select, and our guests. For more information about Mr. Keenan Lake, please visit www.mydaddytaughtmethat and feel free to email us at lake@mydaddytaughtmethat.com. Books can be ordered from Mr. Lake by calling 828-582-2261. Until next time, you've been listening to the Keenan Lake Show on SIBN Radio.